Hi there, my name is Lee Nago and I'm the founder and creator of iwantyoutoberich.com. Today I'm going to talk about the fear of investing and how investing can become like a casino where it's not investing, it's gambling. And I want to share a few stories with you and some good news at the end. So I want to share 3 stories and that's it. None other than these 3 stories. The first story is about my uncle. So you see, my uncle, it's a very basic kind of man. He doesn't believe in lifelong learning or whatever. So he got a government job, very comfortable, and he saved out a lot of money. He's also a very prudent man. He saved pennies, he would save on his electricity. I'm sure you know a family member like that. But unfortunately for him, because his lack of understanding about finance, nobody taught him about what is risk and reward, what is capital, what is small cap versus big cap, what is time horizon of money. And the danger of stock market is that it can become like a casino. It can become gambling instead of investing. So what happened to him, like many other people, they call them mom and dad investor, especially, and data shows that especially men. So because maybe men in 30s and 40s has a risk, attitude to want to take a lot of risks. Women can be susceptible as well, but in the data it shows a lot more men are. And they go into the stock market with an adrenaline rush of investing in some stock that were on the trend, and it went up, they make money, and you know that adrenaline, that ego rush where you know you are so smart, you make money, and that's a problem. People go in and again thinking that they're gonna make more money. And so that was how my uncle lost all his savings. A recession came. And if you understand the principles of personal finance, if you take my course or any other courses, you don't have to take more, just go and YouTube something. It's free online. Read up something for your own sake. Is that if you buy and sell instead of doing it for the long term, a lot of times you're gambling. You are not investing. What happened to my uncle is that he lost all his life savings. It was a very difficult time for him because it's not just about the money. You literally lose your sense of self, your confidence. You don't trust yourself anymore, and obviously it affected his life, his family life, his work, and also his disappointment in himself, also his fear of investing. He swore off investing. He said, the stock market is terrible. I just put my money in fixed deposit. So why wouldn't people just recommend him putting it in fixed deposit or like just savings? Because if you look at any calculator, and if you look at the time horizon of the S&P 500 investments, it gives you an average of about 10% on average, 9 to 10%. You can do exceptionally well in some years, 30% returns. But don't forget, there are also years where you get minus 30%. So average out on 30 years. Let me look at my chart here. If you average it out on S&P 500, let's see here. S&P 500. If you put $100 in 1970, and end of it all in 2022, you took it out, you will have a 10.36% average return. Every year you get 10%. So if you put $10,000, you get $1,000 back. But that is the average. So since 1970, we had so many massive economic crises. Everyone say it's the end of the world. I remember the subprime crisis. I don't know. My parents remember the oil crisis. My grandparents remembered, the Gulf War and stuff. So 10.36% regardless is the power of compounding. So there are principles of finance and principles of investing that you can pick up. And also, not just that, which comes to my second story about my friend who studied finance, so you would expect this friend to be so excellent at investing and know the in and out. But investing is not about understanding the technical. Investing is also about psychology. Investing is a lot about psychology. So he obviously knows what's a price ratio. He knows what's a small cap, big cap, long-term compounding. But what he wasn't taught, and what wasn't taught to us in the School of Finance, is that there are emotions involved. You can get overwhelmed by your ego rush. You can get overwhelmed by your adrenaline. You can get overwhelmed and just sucked in because you felt great about yourself, that you make the right choice and you're so smart. And we all have a self-preserving self-esteem and idea about ourselves. So we want to think that we know a lot. And the problem is that when you make a little bit of money, you go in and out and you get stuck. So he didn't think about what are the habits that he need to put in $100 every day, every month, or $200 every month. What are the discipline required? Because you need to do this over 30 years, 40 years for you to see effects. It doesn't have a lot of impact in 10, 20 years. You only see massive amount of impact in 30 years or more. And that's what Warren Buffett does. He consistently invested in things. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't go in and out. He really read the financials of a company. He knows things like Walmart, Dairy Queen, Costco, things that I shop at every day, and he's making a cent or 2 cents of it consistently since he started investing. And his rate of return in a bad year on average is about 9-10%. Sometimes he does 30%, sometimes he does negative 30%. He's not worried because he's going in for the long term. So what did my friend from the School of Finance missed out? Knowing all the technical things, but you need to form habits. You need to understand that sometimes as human beings, we slide off from our habits during bad times, and we feel bad about ourselves, and we go out spending and we can't put in $200 for that month. Or sometimes we are depressed, or we feel bad, or if we feel extremely egoistic in a certain peak of our career. We feel like we're the king or queen of the world because we got promoted, and that rush of adrenaline affects the way you invest. So you need to understand psychology. You need to understand yourself in order to make this investment work for 30 years. But there are good news, and I want to share story 3 with you. So story 1 is about my uncle. He lost all his money and he sold off stock market because it was like a casino for him. He didn't invest for the long term. Story 2 was about my friend who understands finance but still failed at it. He gambled away his savings and he couldn't sleep at night. Why? Because it's not just about technical. It's about emotions and psychology. You need to form habits. I highly recommend you read James Clear, Atomic Habits, and some productivity books about understanding yourself, your psychology, or the 5 a.m. Club. And it affects how you invest, because if you understand yourself and how you can achieve a little bit of discipline and a bit of organization in how you invest and deal with money, it really helps you. And of course, if you want, you can take my course. It helps you get organized, form habits, and have a better relationship with your money. Otherwise, just Google, YouTube, or take other courses, anything at all. Just go out there and seek some information. I'm coming to my 3rd story, which is the good news, is that young people nowadays are really getting into their financial independence and retire early. So FIRE, and that's just one of them. People are now talking about personal finance, doing it on TikTok, kids in school are forming projects groups to bring money into the conversation and doing projects in real life. And that is exceptional, because we want to talk about money from a young age. We want to understand money. We want to bring out the concept of psychology and money, the technicality of investing. And so this is excellent news, and people are doing great. And the thing is that I want to share that if they start young, I know 18-year-olds who are learning about compounding, the magic of compounding, or the most important science you have to learn in life is compounding. Einstein says something that, the law that you have to learn, and the most important thing you have to learn is the law of compounding. Those who know it really benefit, and those who aren't really suffer. So here we are. If you put in $200 a month, or you put it for your kids since they're 18, when they turn at the end of 40 years, so if they're 18, 58, everyone can be a millionaire. They will have $1.1 million at just 10% return. And this is based on like an average S&P return. So they spread out to all the companies. And we all know companies collapse, but if you spread it out and you diversify, and in the S&P 500, American companies have bounced back again and again. And the stock market have bounced back again and again, but you have to give it time, and you can't panic sell. So these are the people or fund managers who have put it in the S&P 500 for 40 years. If you didn't do that, let's see. If you didn't do that and you just kept your money in a pillow, so how much will you have if you didn't do that and you just kept your money in a pillow at the end of it, let's calculate that. Let's put in a calculator here. For 40 years, how much would you have if you didn't invest that money? $200 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 40, you have about $96,000 versus $1.1 million. So this is the reason why people are forced to learn about investing. People are forced to learn about saving money in a smarter way, because otherwise you have to work so hard. You will have $96,000 at the age of 56, or $1.1 million at just 10% return. So if you're a smart investor, sometimes your return is even way better than that, because you capture companies like Amazon, Google, Apple. But if you just invest in boring companies like Costco, Walmart, things that people buy every day, like what Warren Buffett did, he missed out on all the stocks. He missed out on all the tech companies because he said simply that he didn't understand any of them. So he invested over such a long time. I think he's in his 80s or 90s. I mean, Charlie Munger is in his 90s. So they invested for a long time. So instead of $96,000, if you give it to an 18-year-old, $200 every month in an S&P, and put it in the S&P 500 with an average return of 10%, the calculator on a government website is saying that you get $1.1 million just based on compounding. If you did better than that, congratulations. But if you just put the money in the pillow, you will have $96,000, and with inflation, it's worth a lot less than that. So guys, I hope this video helped you understand that investing, if you don't do it properly, can be like a casino. It's just gambling. It's not investing. But if you do it properly, you're gonna end up a millionaire. Everyone can be a millionaire. Putting aside $200 is about $6 a day. It's about my cup of coffee every day if you make coffee at home, if you get that kind of discipline. So remember, money is about psychology. It's about forming habits. It's not just because you are a finance graduate, you know everything. Form good habits, and then you have a great relationship with your money. Talk about it. I wish you all the best. I want you to be rich, and this is Lee Nagel signing off.